These are 20 of the most ridiculous moments that happen on Hell's Kitchen. And what better than to start with someone who rubbed Chef Ramsay the wrong way. So this customer here not only interrupted the service, but also had the audacity to approach the head chef himself. I guess she forgot that he's the top dog and he won't roll over for anyone. So here's what happened. Chef Ramsay actually acknowledged her, and you know how rarely that happens on the show. This customer was actually lucky enough to get a response from our main man. And that should have been a cue for her to exit gracefully, but nope, she wasn't done. What she did next really crossed the line.
Chef!
Right.
Yeah, she sure did take things up a notch with that dumb whistle. The amount of entitlement this woman had was just completely mind-boggling. But it stopped her from figuring out that she was digging her own grave, I guess. Of course, Chef Ramsay isn't one to let it go easy, and his response was the very definition of brutal.
Don't whistle at me, I'm not your fucking dog, yeah? You look more like a dog than I do. Fuck off, will you?
Gee, calling this little incident embarrassing is a complete understatement. But hold up, here comes one of my favorite moments. So, setting the scene, the contestants were down to the final 6, and Gail, who was handling the fish station, faced a bit of a tough spot. Her first attempt at scallops didn't pass because they weren't seared right and she had to start all over again. Yeah, it wasn't the best way to kick off a dinner service. But the real action happened when she brought her halibut to the pass. The fish was clinging to the pan like glue. And Chef Ramsay's reaction, well, it was wild.
That's what I got given at the fucking park!
And no, that wasn't all. You have to see what happened next.
Shit! This is like a sabotage. Nothing coming out.
Yeah, a pair of tongs went flying right past his head. Phew, that was close. But the famous chef, he didn't flinch one bit. He just carried on with his business like tongs taking flight was an everyday occurrence.
I'm dying, I'm fucking dying.
He's gonna kick us all out of the kitchen.
If that's not badass, I don't know what is. But nothing compares to this next one. You see, everybody remembers HK's most famous elimination. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure this is gonna ring a bell.
I ain't no fucking bitch, chef. I don't give a fuck. I ain't no bitch.
Yeah, that's right, Joseph Tonelli. This guy right here wasn't even nominated for elimination, but his poor attitude sure won him the boot.
You want a fucking jacket? You want to talk some shit? I ain't here for that, dog.
But hey, Chef Ramsay wasn't one to cower, especially in front of a little boy like Joseph.
Oh, wow. Do you think I'm scared? Huh? Look at you. You got no respect.
No respect.
Now get out.
Joseph was shown the door after that right away. But what truly takes the cake here is Ramsay's reaction after he left.
Total shame.
Those are his football skills in action. Chef Ramsay calmly kicked Joseph's jacket off the floor and it landed perfectly on the table. See! But moving on, in the 6th service of season 4, we got to see Chef Ramsay in his beast mode. In the blue kitchen, the dudes were oozing with confidence, with Bobby and LaRosse throwing down a hyped-up triple low 5. But over in the red kitchen, things got a bit intense, especially with the ladies sweating Shayna's game. And that's when, practically out of nowhere, Francisco dropped a bomb about a birthday bash. And almost immediately after, Melissa strutted in, donning a red-hot dress. The whole room erupted into applause, with Chef Ramsay lightening the mood with a playful warning.
Whatever you do now, darling, don't trip on the stairs.
Sometime later, the first order landed in the red kitchen, and Chef Ramsay designated it to Melissa's table. But when Christina sent her first risotto to the pass, it didn't look perfect. In fact, it was far from it.
More mushrooms.
Yes, chef.
Come on, Christina.
Yes, chef.
Not enough mushrooms, so it would seem. What's more, she had her own hell of a struggle trying to whip up Melissa's risotto for round 2. It did have the mushrooms this time, but was missing the parmesan and chives. Come on, split the difference and you're literally there. Anyway, Christina found herself at the height of her frustration, but she pulled through with some serious grit. And thankfully, her second try got the chef's approval, and back in the dining room, Melissa was pretty pleased with her risotto. Meanwhile, in the blue corner, things hit the fan when they were about to send out an entree for Melissa's mom. Turns out the fish was still chilling in the oven. Or, the opposite of chilling, I guess. It did not sit right with Bobby, who laid down some serious sass, asking Matt to buckle up. That's when Chef Ramsay chimed in.
Man! Got to speed up, yeah?
You're the guy. How long?
He looked like he was about to break into tears. And to make things even worse, Melissa ran into a problem with her damn beef. Since it wasn't cooked to her liking, she requested for a refire. The twist here was that when Jean-Philippe informed Chef Ramsay that it was Melissa's own dish that needed fixing, Chef Ramsay wasn't having it.
No. Medium well, yeah? Come on, get another one in, please.
Roseanne promptly expressed her regret over the mistake, but when Melissa's mother's fish came back, Chef Ramsay was beyond furious.
Melissa's steak comes back now, and Mother's food comes back. Rice mush! It's mush!
Determined to get things on track, the famous chef asked Matt to wake up or face the consequences. Meanwhile, Chef Ramsay didn't want to keep the birthday girl waiting for long. When he hastily inquired about the dish, it still wasn't ready.
Fuck off, let me cook that. Out of the fucking way.
The famous chef at this point was beyond embarrassed. Someone needed to show these amateurs how to get things done.
Last time, there's your fucking pan. Leave me alone.
And that's when sous chef Gloria cranked up the heat by dropping a 3-beef order on Shayna. Chef Ramsay made it crystal clear that he wasn't gonna slow down for anybody, and Shayna soon started feeling the mounting pressure. Over in the blue corner, things were just as intense. Bobby, for some reason, took over Matt's turf, and Chef Ramsay wasn't having it. He dished out some serious wisdom to Matt, explaining the difference between teamwork and holding down a station. At the very same time, he made sure to school Bobby in leadership.
You're cooking it. He's running around wiping your ass.
However, Matt, who was visibly frustrated, threw Bobby under the bus in response. And seeing this, Chef Ramsay had some wise words for him.
You can only hide for so long.
I'm not hiding, chef.
And do you know what this meant? It was game over.
Do you want to argue now? Or are you gonna run your fucking section?
It was only after a whole 90 minutes that the entrees finally started making their way out of both kitchens. Eventually, both teams managed to complete the service, but Chef Ramsay wasn't in any celebratory mood.
I can't seriously decide on a winning team on the difference of 1%.
Thank you, chef, for your generosity.
Fuck the generosity, Matt.
Oh boy, that's a hell of a screw up if I've ever seen one. Next up, we're gonna have to talk about the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Woo! I'm feeling great.
Well, you have to agree that this list would never be complete without him. So what happened is, in the heat of the third dinner service, Raj was in charge of the fish station, and it's no surprise that things got pretty chaotic. You see, Raj was almost ready to send his scallops to the pass, but Vinny needed 4 more minutes for his spaghetti. The problem here was that Raj was way ahead in his game, and communication was at an all-time low. But did he accept his fault? Well, what do you think?
Everybody knows my food. I've been written up. Just Google my name.
I mean, come on, that's just Raj being modest.
So you're 4 minutes out and the scallop's already cooked.
I don't know.
Anyway, when they got to the entrees, Raj confidently presented his salmon to Chef Ramsay, but bam! He had used the wrong stock. As a result, the blue team had to start all over again, and by that time, Chef Ramsay had 0 patience left.
Raj! What is that stock he's putting in that salmon?
It's supposed to be grilled, dude.
Sometime later, Raj claimed that he was good to go with his refired salmon, but almost immediately, he backtracked and asked for 1 more minute. And after all that confusion, when he finally brought up the salmon, it turned out to be raw, and Chef Ramsay's reaction was definitely something else.
Fucking raw!
Raj was oblivious as to why his salmon was rejected, and when he tried to question Chef Ramsay about it, Ramsay was just done with him.
Would you mind if I said something, Chef, or no?
Not to me, you know.
But you know what? Raj had a perfect explanation for this little fish fiasco. In an interview with Reality Wanted, he said, "I'm a chef in LA and Ramsay is in London. In LA, you cook the salmon medium rare. If you don't, you'll get torn up." See, he always has something to say about everything. But the level of audacity that Jeff displayed in his final service is unparalleled. So Jeff was in charge of making appetizers, but he ended up messing up 2 dishes of lobster spaghetti. One had no lobster and the other had way too much. His inconsistency continued way into the service, but what he did during the lamb preparation sent Chef Ramsay into a fit. Despite the piling orders, Jeff asked Chef Ramsay for 5 more minutes to prepare his lamb, and boy, you should have seen Chef Ramsay's reaction.
Look at them out there. Look at those tickets.
I understand, chef.
Move your ass!
Later, Chef Ramsay asked Jeff if he was really in charge of his cooking station, or if Michael was running the show for him. To which Jeff claimed that Michael had forcibly taken over his station to fix the dishes. You see, Jeff tried to blame Michael and then brought up the fact that he never worked on the line before. But this sorry excuse only made matters worse for him.
With 30 customers, not eating. Now fuck off back on your section.
Jeff then decided that he was done and even told Chris he was leaving. But when the famous chef overheard him, he made a blunt statement saying, "I'm not a quitter." Come on, Jeff, make up your damn mind. But what he said next was shocking.
You're an asshole. What was that? What did you just say?
And well, there's just one way to describe Chef Ramsay's reaction: iconic.
You're not a fucking cook either.
Dang, Chef Ramsay sure knows how to deliver a solid blow with his words. But this doesn't even compare to what happened when Simone was working at the appetizer station with Nicole. She was really hoping to do a great job that night, but things didn't go as planned. She first sent out a risotto that was kind of low on butter and stock. Basically, it wasn't up to Chef Ramsay's standards. However, instead of making a new one, Chef Ramsay asked her to fix the one that she had. You see, Simone really didn't want to get on Chef Ramsay's bad side.
I'm shaking right now because I don't want to piss off Chef Ramsay.
But when she tried to make a better version, it turned out to be worse. It just didn't have that creamy richness you'd expect in a risotto. This is when Joy accused Simone of not being fully present. But instead of helping her do better, it further added to the already existing pressure.
Can you make the risotto now? Hey, yeah? Off.
Chef Ramsay then decided to switch things up and asked Nicole to take over the risotto. Well, at least she would be able to fix it, right? Wrong. Nicole's risotto was short on lobster, and Chef Ramsay was beyond frustrated.
Get some energy, or both of you, get out of here.
That's it, those instructions were as simple and clear as they could get. Unfortunately, things went from bad to worse when Beth served a raw lobster tail. And you could tell Chef Ramsay was very upset.
No! I don't know where to go! Where do I go?
Finally, Nicole sent out a risotto, which was so overloaded with pepper that it lost its normal color. And this was the moment when we realized that Chef Ramsay is a man of his word.
You two, get out. Rochelle, get on the appetizer.
Speaking of ridiculous moments, how could I miss out on this woman's antics?
I'm just so sick of stupid bitches. Every time I work in a kitchen with women.
Who says only men are sexist, huh? During prep, before the first service, her approach rubbed her teammates the wrong way. She seemed really hesitant to take on a station until she knew where everyone else was. And in a kitchen where the situation changes on a dime, that's a bad attitude to have. Adding to the frustration, her constant complaints while prepping got on Andrea's nerves. As if that wasn't enough, Lacey was completely clueless about what to do and abruptly left in the middle of prep.
I don't want to do this shit anymore. I really don't. I quit, you guys.
This move, understandably, infuriated her teammates even more.
Lacey quit and walked out and left her team, and it was pathetic.
She said I quit. Stick a fork in her.
Although she eventually returned to the Red Kitchen, the fallout remained. LA, in particular, was still visibly upset with Lacey's choice to abandon her responsibilities and walk away when the going got tough. This behavior left a significant dent in team cohesion and trust, painting Lacey as plain old unreliable with paper-thin resilience to boot.
I need a moment to myself. Of course, now I'm definitely the most hated and, whatever.
5 minutes before the service, Coy asked her for some help on the soufflés, but she didn't even show up.
This station is fucked up. I come over here, there's nothing fucking done.
And Chef Ramsay finally had to step in.
Calm down, get a grip, and show me some form of composure, yes?
But despite her constant threats of quitting and not helping her team out during punishments, she wasn't eliminated. And even after the third disastrous service, she was safe, all thanks to G jumping on the metaphorical grenade. Back in the dorms, tensions between Andrea and Lacey reached a boiling point over this. Andrea laid it out plain and simple.
I'll tell you what, you had a saving grace tonight, you better fucking prove yourself.
Damn right! But Lacey fired back.
You just turned on your bitch switch.
That didn't sit well with Andrea, who clapped back that this switch was being triggered by Lacey's behavior every single time. Things got even more intense when Andrea had some questions of her own to ask.
Couldn't Lacey have fell and fucking twisted her ankle?
Ooh, that was both ruthless and honest. Coy chimed in, reminding everyone of the loss of one of their strongest chefs that night, but Andrea and LA couldn't drop the question about whether or not Lacey truly deserved to stay.
We lost one of our best team members. Do you think you deserve to be here?
Frustrated that everyone just kept ganging up on her, Lacey finally hit her breaking point.
Do you want me to go quit right now? Shut the fuck up about it.
But in spite of it all, her attitude didn't improve, even after being transferred to the blue team. During the punishment, after losing the leftovers challenge, Lacey not participating whatsoever became a glaring problem for the men.
Between rolling out cookie dough and mashing potatoes, It's awful.
She spent most of her time standing around, griping about the workload without actually doing anything to help reduce it. When tasked with just handling the tapa plates, she was clueless about where to place them despite clear instructions from Robert.
None of these people here treat me like an equal, and I'm sick of it.
Why would they? Quit whining. You know, I think she was one of those kids who got everything they wanted just because they threw a temper tantrum. If that's the case, no wonder she grew up to be so entitled. Am I right or am I right? As the blue team finally got back on track, Jay noticed Lacey's error. She forgot to remove the paper from a tray before placing it in the oven. And when Robert just pointed out her mistake, well...
Then I fucked up, then it's not your fucking problem.
Stop. Listen to what we're trying to tell you.
Tensions escalated even further as Robert expressed his desire for Lacey to leave. Well, not exactly in those words.
I'm so sick of Lacey. I'm about to use a Jedi mind trick and just choke the shit out of that bitch mentally.
I mean, the dude was just trying to help. But of course, he had more to say.
That bitch has gotta go, man.
This prompted Lacey to challenge him to say it to her face. She then threatened to quit, of course, if another argument ensued.
If I fight with anybody right now, I'm leaving, I swear to God.
Unfazed, Jay gave her the green light to leave if she desired, even offering to pick up her slack.
If you gotta go, then just go. This is a professional kitchen. If you wanna go, go.
Q just gotta love that response. Meanwhile, Ben struggled to maintain his composure as Lacey stormed out of the kitchen. And really, who can blame him?
Where the hell did Lacey go, man?
I don't know.
But honestly, the fact that she went so far in the competition really surprises me. If she had won, I would have flipped my shit. However, while Lacey often gets called out for being the worst to disgrace Hell's Kitchen, at least she didn't bow out like a certain someone.
I'm gonna be leaving. I have some personal issues. Unfortunately, I have to.
Okay, first things first, what irks me the most is that Gina didn't bother to study the menu like everyone else. Instead, she brought along a puppet named Alfredo Linguini or something like that.
My name is Alfredo Al Dente.
Who brings a puppet in Hell's Kitchen?
Between the two, I like the guy from Ratatouille way better. Anyway, Nedra versus that puppet was truly the most intense rivalry on HK I've ever seen. Anyway, that aside, during the first dinner service, Gina took charge of the fish station and aced her first order of scallops, earning initial praise. Eager to maintain that success, she continually asked Nedra for a time estimate to ensure her scallops came out on the right schedule. However, her asking over and over again began to irk Nedra, and it got on Mary's nerves as well.
Nedra, you almost done?
I just told you 5 minutes. How much longer? How much longer? Shut up, Tina.
Frustrated by what she perceived as Nedra being uncooperative, Gina decided to fire her scallops without Nedra's final approval. This impulsive move backfired big time when Nedra requested 2 more minutes for her risotto. Gina, conveniently ignoring the fact that she sent out her scallops, received an overcooked and watery end product.
Cold, overcooked.
I want to do scallops. Somebody else got to do risotto.
On her second attempt, timing was a huge issue yet again. Gina, with some assistance from Janelle, managed to send her scallops to the pass, only for Chef Ramsay to reveal them for the rubber erasers that they practically were.
You can't even hold it together for the second ticket. Get out, Tina.
Later on, back at the dorms, tensions between Gina and Nedra boiled over as they clashed over the scallops. Gina really felt that Nedra had thrown her under the bus during the service. And things quickly escalated when Gina felt threatened, warning Nedra that she wouldn't falsely put words in her mouth.
Don't fucking call me crazy. Talk to me.
Oh god, that was hilarious. And it kept going on and on.
You're dealing with the wrong person.
I'm dealing with a crazy, deranged person.
Like for real, on and on and on. Like seriously, Gina was way too delusional. Try to change my mind about that. Anyway, this reminds me of the opening service of the 3rd season, which saw more than its fair share of meltdowns amongst the red team. The initial order arrived for the women, revealing that Bonnie had mistakenly added garlic to the risotto, sparking an argument between her and Joanna.
Garlic goes in last, y'all. It's gonna make that taste bitter.
All right,
I
hear you. I hear you, Joanna.
Then Tiffany assigned Julia the task of prepping apples, frustrating the latter who believed she could contribute more by cooking eggs instead. After 41 minutes, both kitchens lacked any appetizers, and Tiffany took it upon herself to confess that to Chef Ramsay.
We have to start it over, Chef, because the eggs are...
I mean, how do you fuck up something so royally? Meanwhile, Julia questioned why she wasn't asked to assist beyond peeling apples.
I don't understand how I can be needed nowhere, but still nothing is getting done. I would be needed somewhere.
She's right, by the way. And then Chef Ramsay just instructed Bonnie to aid Tiffany, but Bonnie's nerves only left a trail of broken yolks in her wake.
I don't know where to go now. I've had some tough nights in my life, but not over a fried egg.
As the dinner service passed the 2-hour mark, Julia attempted to offer her help again, only to be rebuffed by Tiffany, leading Julia to break down in tears and confide in Chef Ramsay.
Why are you pushing me?
Please don't do this to me now.
Okay, I understand. I'm trying to help you.
Okay, thank you.
I absolutely detest the red team for being so condescending towards Julia because she didn't have a fancy background like that.
I can't do nothing and they're not getting nothing produced.
Tiffany, however, was annoyed by something else entirely.
Don't pull out the whole team because you want your 2 minutes in the spotlight.
Come on, that was patronizing as hell. The teasing and mocking Julia faced on HK was just sad, you know? Especially because she was a top-notch chef that season, outperforming almost everyone in spite of being a Waffle House chef. And they sneered and jeered at her over it, no doubt. But let's be real, when they couldn't even cook a quail's egg to save their lives, she aced it like a pro. So they should have just shut up. Okay, Julia, this is for you. You were the underdog and my favorite this season. Anyway, Chef Ramsay went on to gather the women, noting more conflict and cooperation amongst them. Melissa and Julia received new roles handling appetizers, with Chef Ramsay urging them to collaborate and push out some food. Working together, Julia and Melissa successfully sent out 17 orders for the red team. However, things got really tense when Melissa's meticulousness on Joanna's station sparked yet another argument.
Dude, she's telling me my is overcooked and it's the only spaghetti that's done.
Despite Tiffany's attempts to defuse the situation, Joanna launched into a tirade accusing Melissa of ruining her spaghetti. Chef Ramsay stepped in, calling for an end to the escalating argument.
Ladies, can we stop arguing, yeah?
Well, yeah, that put an end to the bickering. Now, it'd be a shame to talk about the times when things got physical without bringing up Season 10. This season was iconic and unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. Trust me, the number of factions and infighting within those factions was crazy, but the one that stood out the most was the fallout between two best friends. You're probably already picking up what I'm putting down. So, Kimmy often shared her doubts and worries very openly, yet in the earlier episodes, her food had barely gotten sent back. Robin, on the other hand, always seemed to talk about Kimmy as if she was weak.
Your fucking call was off.
No, my call wasn't. Your fucking ears need to be cleaned out.
Something something glass house something something stones. Anyway, their friendship hit rock bottom after the whole fashion show mess. Kimmy rightly pointed out that Robin ignored her good advice about the food. Kimmy admitted that she should have been a bit more assertive. But Robin? No, she wouldn't admit to any wrongdoing. You could totally tell by how she reacted during the reviews. Instead, she just kept pushing Kimmy for selling her out to Chef Ramsay, which honestly felt like classic bully behavior.
If you really want to get dirty right now, you call me a bitch today and you want me to keep my mouth shut? There's no friends in this competition because I want to work for him.
The overreacting, I tell you, she was insufferable. But hey, Robin seemed to thrive on drama and conflict, and even though she said people thought she was aggressive, it kinda seemed like that was just a cover-up for being plain rude and confrontational. Anyway, cut to the creative steak challenge, and Chef Ramsay directed Kimmy to team up using one of her teammates' ingredients. He announced that the red team would select one of the two dishes for judging. Almost instantly, Kimmy had a suggestion.
Robin, Tiffany has oat.
Like what the fuck?
Robin was feeling very confident about handling the ribeye due to her southern roots. And yeah, that makes sense to me. As the cooking commenced, she made the snap decision to fry both her parsnip and bacon. However, when the time for dish descriptions came, the attention was predominantly on Robin's creation.
I start trying to talk about, my sauces, and they're talking over me.
This was a serious lapse of judgment on the red team's part because Robin's dish turned out to be, well, see it for yourselves.
It's wet, and it's soggy, and it's overcooked. Dreadful.
So when the red team lost the challenge 2-3, Chef Ramsay still had a hankering to taste Kimmy's dish. He was curious about the lady's approach. Robin, however, was being childish about it.
This is the fucking crybabies crying. Let the fucking crybaby put our steak up there.
When she finally presented it, Chef Ramsay's taste buds were in for a treat. He found it almost like a barbecue short rib and gave it a seal of approval. Robin, however, seemed to predict Chef Ramsay's reaction, thinking she knew he'd say something along those lines. However, the famous chef had something else on his mind. He had the rest of the women get a taste too.
I am sorry, but I know where you're coming from because that is delicious.
Wrong choice.
While Kimmy felt a sense of redemption, thinking she had proven her steak cooking chops to her teammates, Chef Ramsay wasn't so pleased. He criticized the women for their decision, suggesting that Kimmy's dish could have seriously challenged Clemenza's dish if they had chosen it for the judging.
Bad choice, ladies.
Yeah, the right chef.
Because that would have given Clemenza a run for his money, let me tell you.
At this point, Robin looked threatened and insecure that Kimmy outshined her as the former resorted to projection.
I sometimes feel like I protect Kimmy.
Is this true, Kimmy?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
Not
it
at all,
is true.
Sam.
Why are you lying?
Robin delusionally felt that she would be better on the blue team as they would respect her, but Christina rightly didn't think so.
Hey, I told you to send your ribeye.
Really? So now you're in charge of me too? Oh, go ahead, girl.
Come on, Robin, give me a break. But this contestant screwed up the only job she had. I'm talking about Elizabeth's fiasco during the 20-year reunion planning challenge.
I haven't done a lot of like Hawaiian cooking and stuff, but I've done like Asian, and they do taste extremely similar.
I mean, like, in what world, girl? She screwed up the only job that she had. She was to represent her team at the committee meeting where she was instructed to stick to the Hawaiian theme. But Elizabeth had other plans.
How do you guys feel about combining meat and seafood on the same plate?
And obviously, her idea left the committee dumbfounded.
Any more questions?
No, I think I've
sure?
got a concept.
Yeah, no, she totally didn't. During the cooking process, Elizabeth only confused things even more. Her suggestion of bacon-wrapped scallops caused concern among her teammates, especially Jamie.
I was confused as to if she really did have the right details or not.
And yeah, Elizabeth also failed to mention that one of the committee members was a pescatarian, which Chef Ramsay was nowhere near happy about.
Elizabeth, Diada did explain that she was pescatarian and she couldn't eat meat.
Her leadership, or lack thereof, resulted in a harsh 0-3 loss for the red team and all the punishments that came with the territory.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was under the impression that like we could mix them.
Amidst the punishment, tensions flared as Elise, rightfully upset, confronted Elizabeth about her misinformation campaign. Elizabeth attempted to defend herself by claiming that she heard something about Asian food from the committee. However, things got even messier when Elise threw the pescatarian guest in her face again. This was an old wound that really showed how unempathetic Elizabeth was.
I'm not gonna take all the blame for this when we lost by a landslide.
Yet, her response fell short again as she hesitated to fully accept responsibility for the errors. I mean, I was laughing at how bad she screwed up. And well, viewers certainly agree. But in more colorful terms, for real, Elise had every reason to let loose on Elizabeth after that flop. I mean, who wouldn't be pissed off, right? Elizabeth just seemed so stubborn for not owning up to it. Honestly, it was a wonder how she made it this far. By the way, how did you like Bonnie's journey on the show? To be fair, I think she made some stupid mistakes, I ain't gonna lie. In the second dinner service, Bonnie was working on the fish station and stumbled by cooking 3 orders of scallops instead of 1. This caused a huge ripple effect that threw off the entire kitchen's workflow.
See? I've called 1 spaghetti, 1 scallops, and she's doing 3 scallops.
Anyway, moving to the 4th dinner service at the meat station, Chef Ramsay discovered Bonnie's error of slicing the chicken in half before returning it to the pan.
Is that just sliced in half there and put back in the pan?
This, chef?
Oh no, Bonnie,
Yes,
not
chef.
that.
Her explanation failed to convince Chef Ramsay, and he made it clear how dry the chicken was gonna be because of it.
It's fucking lost its texture. Right now, you're all screwing your fucking selves.
The situation escalated when Bonnie mistakenly lied about refiring it, intensifying Chef Ramsay's frustration.
You're saying yes all the fucking time, yet nothing's done!
His reaction resulted in an order for the women's team to collectively regroup and work together just to make up for Bonnie dragging them down. However, both the struggles and the criticism persisted as Bonnie served yet another dried chicken.
Look, it's ripped to fuck, it's dry. Oh, God.
Chef Ramsay found a serving station in disarray, which only added to his mounting frustration and disappointment in the ongoing lack of quality control and organization on Bonnie's part.
It's not going anywhere, we're not getting anything out, everyone's fucking sunk.
Bonnie's missteps across multiple services were glaring. Her errors with the scallops and mishandling of the chicken really showed her lack of attention to detail. Her messing up the entire kitchen was just cake at that point. Now, in the 6th service, Bonnie hit another snag when her pan caught fire, leaving her uncertain and clueless about how to put it out. And Chef Ramsay had to intervene swiftly, fighting fire with water.
Way out of the way. Never walk around with a pan. On fire, you stand back.
He took the opportunity to lecture Bonnie on fire safety, emphasizing that stepping back would have been the safer response rather than risking burning down the restaurant like she had.
Setting fire to the fucking restaurant, hello? Now she's burning the place down.
Still though, it was honestly amusing to watch. But I gotta say, Chef Ramsay's super caring towards his chefs. However, things took a turn for the worse during the prep for the 8th service. Nervous about what was coming, Bonnie made a critical error by mistakenly discarding some perfectly good monkfish, thinking they smelled off. This decision led to a significant fallout as sous chef Marianne rightfully chastised Bonnie for discarding all 23 portions designated for the service.
What are you doing? That was all that we have.
To add to the whole debacle, sous chef Scott disagreed, stating that the monkfish didn't smell bad at all.
Does it smell bad too?
Smells like monkfish.
Oh my god, I'm freaking out.
This misjudgment resulted in a colossal waste of food. And we all know how Chef Ramsay loves wasted food. Imagine if he found out about that. How do you think he'd react? It definitely wouldn't be pretty, I'll tell you that much. Meanwhile, between Melinda's Cappellini and Louise Lamb, there was a lot going on during the opening night of season 6. But don't let it distract you from the fact that Amanda really dropped the ball at the dessert station, messing up the whole team's game.
Look at that! It's like a bison's penis!
Chef Ramsay spotted a messed up piece of salmon just lying around, and Amanda straight up owned up to it, admitting she screwed up big time by mixing up the freezer with the fridge.
I fucked it up. The salmon was my fault.
Either way, it forced the team to scratch the salmon off the menu for the night. When sous chef Heather unveiled a backlog of 5 salmon orders waiting, Chef Ramsay sarcastically congratulated Amanda for her great job. Just a super outstanding performance, right? The red team, in the end, were declared losers for not serving any entrees at all. Which I mean, no duh. Amanda found herself in hot water as the red team's second nominee for elimination following Melinda's nomination. When Chef Ramsay asked if she was on board with this decision, Amanda firmly disagreed.
Amanda, do you agree with this?
I do not agree at all.
However, Chef Ramsay wasn't done. He went straight for the jugular, asking Amanda if she finally figured out the difference between the fridge and the freezer. Chef Ramsay never disappoints. Now, let's circle back all the way to season 5. I've talked about Seth's Filetgate to death a ton in the past, but how many of you remember his performance at the fish station in the 4th service?
There you go, rubber scallops, yeah? What is that?
His initial attempt at scallops resulted in, say it with me now, rubbery and poorly cooked dishes. He drew criticism from both his colleagues and prompted Chef Ramsay to take drastic measures by forcing him to eat what he had sown. But bro was just goofing around.
I didn't have any dinner prior to that, so I was pretty happy to be eating them.
He's a glass half full kind of guy, I guess. However, Seth's shortcomings really didn't end there. As the night progressed, he failed to maintain focus and attention to detail, failing to repeat a ticket order called by Chef Ramsay for the blue team.
What did I just call out?
This lack of attentiveness disrupted the kitchen's flow and indicated a significant lapse in his ability to handle crucial information during the service.
I don't know, Chef. No, I know you don't know, because you weren't even prepared to listen.
The most concerning incident unfolded when Seth was observed doing this.
What is he doing?
Wiping his face with a cloth and subsequently using the same cloth to wipe down a pan?
I just watched you wipe your face and then wipe a pan.
So yummy. This flagrant disregard for hygiene and cross-contamination protocol prompted Chef Ramsay to reprimand him severely.
Where's your cooking cloth? I'll get my job.
How fucking unsanitary. So, could you think of more times when contestants messed up real bad? Don't forget to drop them in the comment section down below. And if you thought this video was crazy, you have to see my next post right here since it's even crazier.